All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich Celenza. Thanks for tuning in to the Rich Celenza Show. WTF are you talking about? So today is my 300th episode, which is kind of crazy. I can't believe it, actually. But anyways, I wanted to do something special for my 300th episode. I've been thinking about it for a while. And if you know anything about me, I teach this confidence program. It's to help men find a woman or women of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce. And, the one thing I realized in life, another thing, I shouldn't say the one thing, regarding confidence is there's a fine line between being insecure and being confident. I know this firsthand because I lived it, and I think millions of others as well. I think sometimes we run across a lot of people that we think are extremely confident, when in reality, they're way more insecure. It's kind of a performance, which in life in general, I think everything's a performance, right? A lot of us are behaving a way differently than the way we feel. And I'll just give you an example. So me, as much confidence as I had younger regarding, say, athletic ability, I had unbelievable insecurities regarding how small I was in stature. And it really overtook me to the point where I just hated being the smaller guy. I really looked up to the big, stronger alpha male guy. I had a lot of Italian uncles, cousins, family members, a lot of them that were big and strong, very dominating type characters. Strong, empowering type men, and that's what I wanted to be. And I kind of just always saw myself as being puny, which I was puny. I was small, thin. They used to call me, like goofy names, and it's funny. Even at 50 years old, I remember being called bird legs, toothpick legs, toothpick arms, pee-pee arms, all these different types of things. And it wasn't that I was getting bullied. A lot of people talk this shit, and I get some people get bullied, some don't. I think a lot of times we are all made fun of, no matter who the hell you are, all right? Depending on what environment you're in, no one is always going to get the pass. No one is going to go unscathed without people saying, things to you that may hurt your feelings. I don't care if you're very handsome, they may make fun of you. I don't care if you're ugly, they're going to make fun of you. I don't care if you're thin, they're going to make fun of you. Fat, tall, short, built, whatever the case may be, people are going to crack on you, and that's part of life. But when it comes to your internal, I think, side of things, with being insecure, I think, and then having confidence, again, I think a lot of people that were really super insecure regarding certain things, I'm not going to say they go overboard with things, but I think they go overboard with things, I should say. So, one thing I'm going to say is, for instance, me, I wanted to get bigger and stronger. I called it reverse anorexiaism throughout my life, where no matter how big and strong I got, it was never enough. I always felt like the puny, skinny guy. If you've listened to any of my previous podcasts, you know that. But yeah, I was obsessed with getting bigger and bigger and stronger. And I even wrestled. I was a pretty good wrestler. I played a lot of sports. I boxed. I was horrible. But it wasn't about being always I didn't mind being a tough guy. I liked the persona of being a tough guy. But I wanted the persona of just being big. I wanted to be like a 5X shirt. I got up to like a 54-inch coat. But I just wanted to walk into a room and be one of the biggest guys there. Why? I have no idea to this day. I still, though, like being bigger than smaller. And I don't even mean a little bigger. If it was up to me, I'd be 300 pounds still to this day. Why? I don't know. Something internal. But what I will say is, when getting bigger, like I've gotten big where I was like almost 250 pounds for many years. When you start to have a persona of being bigger and stronger, it gives you a lot of damn confidence. But I also realized as soon as I started to get smaller, even as a grown-ass man, and people are like, oh my goodness, some will say you look better because you look thinner, which you probably do to a certain degree, or at least in their eyes you do. But you start to feel deflated. Like, you think they're saying things like you look weak. You look like you're losing your muscle mass. You look like you're not as strong as you once were. Whatever's in my head was ridiculous. And again, there's the fine line I'm talking about. And I think a lot of women really go through this. I'll tell you almost, I'm not saying men don't go through it too, but when it comes to women, I think it's a hard hit because I think a lot of women and men, obviously, are insecure. But things empower them physically, not only physically, but I guess you could say, let's just say things that they can do to themselves to make themselves feel better, which gives them more confidence, right? I think with men, it's basically lifting weights or getting a lot of money, hypothetically, or maybe dressing a certain way and taking care of yourself from a hygiene point of view. Those things could give you confidence, or just what you do for a living could give you confidence. If you're a cop, a fireman, not just men, women too, whatever you do can give you confidence. But I think on the flip side, when it comes from, what am I looking for? Your presence. So women, I think, it's a lot more showy, which again, when things aren't showing the way they want to be shown or the way they want to be perceived, there's a problem. And it definitely comes with, say, boobs, right? If you match up a guy's prick compared to a girl's boobs, most times you can't tell how big a guy's prick is because he's in his shorts or pants, unless you see it, truthfully. But with boobs, with women, it's front and center. You could tell if they're flat or if they got a big chest, whatever the case may be. I really believe that a lot of women have insecurities regarding this. And not just if you're too small, but also if you're too big. It goes both ways. And that's kind of obvious, I think, because obviously there's so many breast implants or breast reductions as well. So that's one thing I think women have to deal with where men don't necessarily, right? I also think a lot of times, hair. A lot of men aren't, some are obsessed with their hair. Don't get me wrong. Everybody likes a new hair, like a nice hairstyle, haircut, whatever. But again, with women, I think a lot more pressure there. Men, especially as you get older. I think I heard a study, and I've said this before, and I don't know if it's true, that women bald as much as men, which I can't believe. But I've heard statistically they lose, there's so many more bald women out there. Globally, I guess you could say, which I find hard to believe. But I know a lot of women lose their hair, especially if they're obviously sick. But men, I think after a while, I'm not saying they give up. They're like, all right, I'm bald. What am I going to do? Like the days of getting a toupee or hair plugs or all that shit, I think are kind of behind us. I'm not saying people still don't do it, but I think it's a lot more, it's a lot more, I guess you could say, it's a lot better for men, I think, because it's a lot more accepted being bald, where I think, at least when I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even 2000s, being bald was not really something you wanted to be. But after Michael Jordan and, Bruce Willis and Vin Diesel, now The Rock and Jason Statham, all these dudes came into play, especially with a lot of professional athletes as well, and actors that are bald, changed the game a little bit. But it definitely didn't change the game for a lot of women. Now, some African-American women, they seem to pull off the baldness, but you don't see many women in general wanting to be bald or shaving their head. So I think there's a lot of stress there. Also with makeup. Men, I just think, are too lazy to put makeup on. And they sweat, or they just, it's not my thing. I can't ever see wearing makeup. Even when I was shooting my movie, I was like, I didn't get upset. I was actually trying to get away from the makeup. I wanted people to look as real as possible, even if they were sweating or shiny or whatever. I wanted that natural type of look. But a lot of women, again, if they don't have makeup on, they feel insecure. And a lot of women, I've heard over the years too, a lot of their men, they've never even seen, a lot of them never seen them without makeup sometimes, especially when first dating for a long period of time. Some people even being married, women will go to bed with maybe some makeup on, maybe a little bit, or some type of foundation, and just always trying to have something on their face because they're just too insecure not to have makeup on. And a lot of women, as you know, maybe you don't know, go out and they're miserable if they don't have makeup on, or they won't leave the house literally without it. Again, that's where I'm just giving examples where I think, but if they put makeup on, they go to work, they feel like $1 million, they're confident. Take the makeup off, now they're not confident. It's weird how that is. I also think height with women are looking a certain way. Again, heels comes into play, and I'm not here to rip on all women. These are just things I think they deal with a lot of times. And so do my buddies, to be honest, when you start to get into height. I have my closest friends and family members are Italian, and a majority of them are short. And I know they don't like being short. And depending on the environment they're in, they can feel, if they're around their own, they feel very confident. But I've even had a lot of friends and family members and cousins say, man, that's just, they're tall, they're big. They don't feel that confident, or they don't feel that comfortable, is what I should say as well. And then when it comes to clothes too, women talk about, men a lot of times can just accept sometimes the size they are, right? They don't get overly obsessed, where I think, again, women, back to being a certain size, if they want to be a 2 or a 4, and they're a 6 or an 8, or whatever the case may be, I'm just using for an example, if they're not that size, they're getting wiped out emotionally, which is insane. Because, if you know anything about fashion, every designer, or I should say every brand sometimes has a different size. They've even caught a lot of brands, like a 6 and 8, they'll make a 2 and a 4, right? You can't get caught up in that shit, but a lot do. So my whole theory with a lot of what I'm saying here is, you got to really understand, I believe, that confidence comes, that I've learned over the years, is what I should say. First of all, you just have to accept that who you are is exactly who you are. I know we evolve and change, and we all want to be maybe tanner than we are, or maybe be lighter skinned than we are, be more fit than we are, try to be better looking, and all that shit. I get it. When you get down to it, though, who you doing it for, most likely? Everyone else, a lot of times, not just yourself. But regardless, whatever you do, make sure it is for yourself, okay? When I got bigger and heavier, I was doing that to show everybody else, I think, that I was bigger, stronger, and heavier, right? Because when I started to feel like shit, I was heavy for a long period of time, and I started to feel horrible. So instead of actually something that I've wanted to do to make me feel better, and I guess impress others, now flipped. I felt shittier, even though I was getting the attention I wanted. And then I knew physically I just couldn't keep up with this. It was hurting me, not helping me. And I think a lot of people do this, especially when it comes to not only physical type things, working out, where people start off just saying, hey, I want to get in shape, and before you know it, they get obsessed with, wanting to run marathons or doing certain things, and then their body starts breaking down, or they're sick, worn out, or fatigue. There's a balance there. But when it comes to, again, what was I going to say? With the doing things, me not feeling good, you got to understand, if you don't, things aren't always going to go your way. And, we're all going to get, for one, older. Okay, I'm just saying, people that chase their youth, and you all know who you are. And I think a lot of us that want to stay fit and healthy do that as well. But when it comes to an extreme, when, for instance, you have to have all this plastic surgery, or you're over-dieting to stay thin, or you're actually working out to the point where you're lifting too heavy weights and you're damaging your joints, muscles, tendons, there's a fine line. You have to accept who the hell you are. And I think the faster you do that, and you become comfortable in your own skin, now that does not mean you have to let yourself go. What I'm saying is, just being who the hell you are, and being comfortable with that is going to go so far. And a lot of times, having huge muscles, for instance, that's not always the answer. You know what I mean? Being fit is probably a better answer. There's usually a better answer. Putting some makeup on, that's not bad. You know what I mean? Or when you put it on and you look like a clown, you could do what you want to do. But I'm here to tell you, most likely, you look like shit. It's probably not that good for your skin, right? Even wearing a certain type of shoe, like a woman, like I was discussing, after a while, you're destroying your feet. You're hurting your lower back, most likely. You're doing things to your body that aren't really healthy, right? And a lot of times, too, we kind of put on a persona. Even the way we dress, that makes us look a certain way, and we're not actually that way. I don't know why we do that, or I don't necessarily do that, but I know a lot of people that make, and I get, if you go to award shows and you're wearing, if you're a woman, what are those, spats? Is that what they call those? You don't want a belly. Okay. Men wear them too. Or if you want to wear something that makes you look very thin, or something that makes you look very big, right? Or all these things. I kind of get it, but why get in a position where you keep representing yourself a way that you're truly not, right? It's almost, on the flip side of that, it's almost like a personality disorder too, and I see that with, back to confidence and insecurity, the people that are always kind of talking about themselves and how much money they make, what type of possessions they have, how much smarter they are than everybody else, the type of degrees they have. And I get, some people are proud of who they are and what they have and what they've achieved. It's wonderful. But there does come a fine line where it becomes, what is that, braggadocious, where you become annoying. Because if everyone kept doing that and discussing those type of things, I mean, it would get, it's cool to a certain degree, but I really think if you have things like that, and I've had those type of things, the cooler you are regarding that, I think the better off you're going to be. And to me, the more you talk about yourself and your self-obsession with yourself, which we all, I think, do to a certain degree, the more insecure I think you actually are again. Kind of very similar to what I was just saying from a physical type perspective. Now I'm talking about it from almost a mental and a verbal one, which is much different. But again, if you are just comfortable with who the hell you are, right? And I really see it on social media regarding a lot of things with a lot of people I know, is even when things are kind of going bad, they're trying to pretend they're great. Or on the flip side, when things aren't that bad, they're trying to get attention and make things look horrible. It goes all these different ways. And if you just become more self-aware, and I really think when it just comes to confidence in general, being comfortable in the position you're at right now, that doesn't mean you're settling, but in wanting to improve and figuring those things out. But lying to yourself, others, trying to show off a certain way, or pretending you're something you're not, from a physical standpoint or a mental one, lying, bullshitting, doing all these type of things, usually you're going to be exposed, I'm going to tell you. And if you're not exposed, most people already know that you're a jagoff or a liar or a bullshitter. Most of your friends, maybe even family members, colleagues, don't call you out on it. And I've discussed this on my other podcasts. I'm here to kind of call you out on it. We all have flaws. We've all lied. We've all done so many things probably we regret, and we've also done a lot of things we kind of dig, right? Our past could sometimes help us deal with the future, or can kind of, I think, destroy our future because we hold on to too much shit. But also you got to realize you got to learn from your past too. And it sounds weird, but it's time to sometimes just grow up. And that can be it doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. A lot of people just don't know how to grow up. They just kind of keep doing the same old bullshit that they keep doing. And one of the reasons they keep doing it, again, is because they're insecure. Insecurity, it'll destroy you, I'm telling you. So the quicker you can start learning to just be confident again in your beliefs, right? And also, if you're somebody who has had problems with relationships, that's kind of what my Mastering Self-Confidence program is about, is helping men find the woman or women of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce. But a lot of men and women have problems in relationships because they're just not genuine. And they're just not honest with themselves or other people. Again, they are performing. And I'm telling you, if you are somebody who's constantly performing, and I get we all kind of perform because all our personalities and shit, it's like an act, right? We're not acting, we're acting like who we are, but we've taken on all these traits over the years. But when I'm saying when you're at the point where you have to perform or pretend you're someone else other than yourself, you've got to learn how to get away from that. Because again, what most people don't realize is everybody already picks up on that. They already know you're full of shit. Even if you're in relationships and you keep ending up in bad relationships or divorces or whatever the case may be, it's not always your fault. But a lot of times I can assure you probably it is. A lot of it is your fault. And I think a lot of that comes from because they're just not honest with one another. In a relationship, you either got caught where you're trying to keep up with a certain persona for many, many years. You're not, you're evolving, but you can't let your whoever you're with know you're evolving, or you want to make changes, you can't do that. You kind of become caught, I think, a lot of times in a emotional prison, and it's hard to break out of that. But the quicker you come to grips with yourself that says, hey, this is who I am exactly, and everybody else finally sees the real you, and you're confident enough to come out and just start to live the life that you always wanted to lead. And that doesn't mean, again, I'm not telling you to flip out and go get a divorce or any of that type of shit, or say all of a sudden I want to be with tons of women, or whatever. If that's what you want to do, go do it. What I'm just trying to say is, slowly but surely, build up enough confidence in yourself to figure out who the hell you are and what you kind of want, right? Because if you don't know who the hell you are or what you want, nobody else is going to figure it out for you. It's nobody else's responsibility either. So that's really what I wanted to get into today. But please, and here's the thing, I'm telling you a lot of times, if you even look at MMA fighters or professional athletes or a lot of people out there, even geniuses or all of them, a lot of them were insecure, I think, right? And they had something to prove, which is a great thing sometimes. So I will wrap it up with this is, sometimes an insecurity that you have, you want to overcome it. And by sometimes overcoming it can lead to a lot of amazing things. And don't think just because people are richer than you, or like I was saying, smarter than you, have, more fit than you, or all those things, don't think they haven't gone through what you're going through, or don't feel the same way you feel. A lot of people feel very similar to the way you feel, but a lot of people ignore it. Some people can conquer it. Some people just, they're always maybe confused throughout a lot of their life, maybe. I don't know. I'm not those people, but I'm here to tell you, you're not that much different than you think you are when it comes to your emotions. A lot of people, as you know, if you, for instance, watch a sad movie, real sad, everybody's crying because they emotionally feel that way. You watch a sporting event, say you're in the sports, and something happens extraordinary and your team wins, everybody's on a real high emotion, right? So what I'm trying to say is a lot of emotions that you feel, or what you go through, other people have gone through as well. So if you need to talk to other people about things, be honest. If you're getting hurt, be honest. If somebody does something that you really like, you know what I mean? Give them praise. If somebody's doing something you dislike, call them out on it. That doesn't mean that you got to verbally abuse them. What I'm saying, again, is not only do you want to be honest with yourself, you want to be honest with others. And once I think that door kind of opens, it's going to be a game changer. Because, just little pieces, I guess you could say little nuggets of, it takes time to build confidence. It's not like a lot of guys are very insecure and then all of a sudden get a haircut and dress a certain way and walk out of the door and all of a sudden they're confident. Right now they kick ass and all of a sudden their whole life changes. Now they're on the path to getting whatever they want, however they want it and all that. It doesn't work that way usually. It's small little things, I believe, throughout your life that are building up this building up to things that will give you more and more confidence, I should say. But here's the thing, I've seen so many people that have all the confidence in the world and then the bottom fall out from them, and you'll be shocked at how insecure they become after that, because a lot of their confidence came from maybe possessions or maybe other things, but again, they weren't truly self-confident enough to stay that way. And I always say, when your back is against the wall, when you bottom out a lot of times, it could be anything, not even financially, it could be in a relationship, it could be whatever. When your back's against the wall, that's truly who you are. So when that back's against the wall, are you confident that you're going to get out of it? Are you confident that, or are you, insecure and you don't know how to behave or act, or now you're lashing out, or you're a boo-hoo fest, or all these type of things. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, though, check out my Mastering Self-Confidence program. You don't even have to, I'm not saying you got to go out and buy it or do any of that shit, but I definitely love helping people. And believe me, when I tell people all the time, it's not that I've mastered self-confidence necessarily. I don't think anybody actually masters it, because our emotions and everything we go throughout in our life. But it's trying to master it and trying to build up that confidence, to find strength, in your beliefs and who you are. Maybe find somebody who has the same core values. And a lot of people get beat up throughout the years and they lose that confidence and they become, insecure. They become weak. They don't value themselves. So I definitely don't want that to happen to people. And it's not just about relationships. It's just about a lot of things in life that I think people can use a confidence boost when it comes to things, because I know I've needed it throughout my life. So I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right. Take care, and everyone stay safe.